Hello. Some of the things I'll be talking about on this channel, on Rack Tracks, will have to do with diabetes and chronic kidney disease and my journey, my diabetic journey. So next year when I am hiking the Pacific Crest Trail as a type 1 diabetic, some of my videos will be talking about the impact of that daily hiking on my blood sugar levels and how I'm able to maintain good blood sugar levels or not, and just how that diabetic journey goes on that 2,650 mile hike from Mexico to Canada. This evening I'm just doing one of my training walks. I go on this path and I try to knock out a minimum of 2, at least 4, maybe 6 or 8 miles a day as I'm trying to get in shape, losing some weight. At about a month ago, I was at about 237, and I'm 6 foot, and I have always been considered by the medical profession as obese. So, did obesity cause my diabetes? Did my diabetes cause obesity? Or is there the truth somewhere in between? When I was in high school, I was, as a senior in high school, I was probably about 180. And based upon my frame size, I calculate that I should weigh between 175 and 188. So I have a goal of getting down to 185 before I start hiking the PCT. And right now, I'm right around 215, 217. So in this past month, I've been able to drop about 20 pounds. And my thought is, hey, if I can lose 40 pounds, even though I put on a 20 to 30 pound pack, I'm going to be hiking as if I don't have any pack on. But, I have not controlled my diabetes very well. I've been diabetic for 15 years. I will be turning 60 this year. And I got diagnosed as type 2 diabetic at age 45. At age 47, they changed that and said I was a type 1. They said my pancreas had completely, closed the book on me and was not going to produce any insulin, period. So I am insulin dependent, type 1 diabetic. I had a nurse in a hospital tell me, oh, that's a type 3 diabetic. I don't know, never heard of that. I even Googled type 3 diabetic, nothing came up. But he said, oh yeah, people will know. So if you've heard of a type 3 diabetic, then let me know in the comments. Eventually on this channel I'll create playlists. So if you as a subscriber are most interested in my diabetic videos and my diabetic journey, and then you'll be able to just go to that playlist and have all that collection together. I can't promise that when I'm on the Pacific Crest Trail that I'm going to break out specifically, well, here's a diabetic video. We'll see when we get there. Maybe I'll decide to keep all diabetic conversation about my hiking the PCT on separate little videos and then end up moving them to the playlist with around diabetes. So initially when I was diagnosed, I was really good at keeping my A1C down and keep my blood sugars in check. And it was really simple. And I just kind of, cut down on carbs, and suddenly I was getting A1Cs in the fives, mid fives, 5.3 even. I remember getting 5.2, 5.3, and I was like, wow, this is easy. And that was before I was type 2. That was before I was diagnosed as a type 1, and my pancreas completely quit giving me any insulin, and I was just on, metformin and diet. And then we moved from Texas to Colorado, and, I had lost weight. At my highest, I was 280 pounds. So I had dropped down to whatever it was, 240-ish. And I bounced around between 235 and 250 for past many years. And I got lazy. And, my best friend's diabetic, and I remember going out to eat with him once, and I'm like, you get croutons on your salad? And his response was, yeah. And I just take a little extra insulin. And I thought, hey, that's cool. I can enjoy my croutons and just take a little extra insulin. And started doing that. Started eating kind of crappy. And when I'd take my blood sugar and I needed to correct, I'd just take a little more insulin. And my A1Cs started creeping up. And I started getting more lazy. And I really didn't like just sticking my finger, oh, my blood's this, and then reacting to that. And I never was taking insulin in advance of eating. And so I was always just correcting these high blood sugars, and my A1Cs got up 10, 12, 13 for many years. Crappy A1C. And I knew there was one blood test my doctor did, and he's like, oh yeah, you have early stage chronic kidney disease, don't worry about it. So I didn't really worry about it. And then, finally, my 2 A1Cs ago, it was 12 point something, I think, and last A1C, it was 10 point something, and I was like, I'm getting too old for this. I've got neuropathy going on. I've got kind of numbness and tingling in my feet and extremities, and I was like, I remember, I wonder what kind of condition my kidneys are in, because it's been 5-6 years since that doctor said, I had beginning stages of chronic kidney disease. So I thought, well, I've got to lose some weight. A, I've got to get in better shape for hiking the Pacific Crest Trail, and B, I've got to get my blood sugars in control. So, I knew low carb was the idea. And so I started eating low carb. And I started using a whole lot less insulin. And blood sugars were coming down. And I got myself a Libre sensor made by Abbott. Continuous glucose monitoring sensor. And I have it on my arm right there underneath that blue bandana, that blue armband. And now I can just take my phone and, with the NFC chip, put it right up next to the sensor and get my blood glucose. And not only do I get my blood glucose right there at that time, I get a history of what it's been doing. So I know, has it been rising? Has it been staying flat? Is it falling? Do I need to worry about a hyperglycemic event or a hypoglycemic event? And I just love the information. And with that information, I can see the impact of my diet on it too. And so I decided to go really low carb. I want to get really good control of this, right? So I didn't intentionally try to get into ketosis or start a ketogenic diet, but I kind of inadvertently did. And I knew my brother had lost a lot of weight. And I said, how'd you lose all that weight? And he's like, oh, I'm on a keto diet. I really didn't know much about it. I remember my brother-in-law saying that he was investigating a keto diet in that it might help his daughter who has seizures, because it can cause some mental clarity and better, firing of the synapses. And so anyway, as I continued my low carb adventure, I realized I actually kind of am doing a keto, but not really. So I started investigating more about what a keto diet is, and found out that a keto diet is basically a moderate amount of protein to a smallish amount of protein to a high amount of fats and to a low amount of carbohydrates. Whereas, maybe 60 to 70% of your calorie intake comes from good fats, and 20% of your carbohydrate intakes, 25 comes from protein, and then a small amount from the carbohydrates that you get through eating good whole foods like fresh organic range eggs, organic grass-fed beef, and if you can, organic vegetables, cauliflower, broccoli. I have tomatoes and cucumbers. I love tomatoes and cucumbers. So anyway, that's what I've been kind of doing. A little bit of bacon, some eggs, some beef, and some veggies, and salads. And I love salads. And then you got to be careful with the dressings on the salads, right? Because so many dressings off the shelf in the supermarket are loaded with crap and have sugar added to them and so forth. But anyway, that's where I am on my journey. And my blood glucoses have been amazing. So for the last 30 days or so, if I were to get an A1C based upon being able to continue this for the next 3 months or 2 months, I will be in the fives once again, coming down from 12 and 10 down to 5. So I'm excited to get my blood glucose. I also went and got my a renal panel, and I did that just by going online and finding an order for LabCorp. It costs like $33 through, I think it's called Walk-In Labs or something like that. And I went down to LabCorp, about 45 minutes away to me in a neighboring town, got my blood drawn and got my kidney function tested. And I have an estimated GFR on that test of 59, which puts me at a stage 3A chronic kidney disease. Just barely out of stage 2 into stage 3. There's mixed data out there whether or not you can improve your kidney function. A lot of doctors say you can't. But hopefully I can at least maintain that. But I have some hopes that I might be able to improve it. And I'm hoping that this kind of keto type diet, which is low in carbs and higher in fats and healthy foods and a small amount of protein, will get my GFR back up a little bit. So I'm excited to get that reading in another month or so, and we'll see which way it's going. My friend has chronic kidney disease, and he said that any one test isn't that accurate from his experience, that they fluctuate a few points from test to test. So even if I come back at a 60 or 61 next time, it may not be that I've improved it, just maybe some inaccuracies in the test, that only over time will I get a better indication of my kidney function. So, and then we'll talk about that on here too. So if you are, if you're interested in my diabetic journey and what's been working for me and what hasn't been working for me, then subscribe, like the video if you liked it, leave a comment, and I look forward to learning about you and your diabetic journey. And together we're going to live longer, and we're going to live healthier, and we're going to have better lives. So this is Romar Carl, and I'm signing off for this vid.